Hey guys, what's up? I'm Benton from Everyday Craftsman. Today I'm going to tell you about how I built this simple step stool for my kiddos.
So I had some 2x10 material just lying around the shop, and I'm cutting it down to roughly 8 inches high. I already cut off the bottom of this board and a shot that's not in here, just so that the top and the bottom are pretty flat, so it'll stand up. Here I'm getting a crosscut sled out just to cut these down to about 11 or 12 inch lengths. I copied the dimensions for this design from a stool that we already have and the kids use. The board is definitely not flat, but it doesn't really matter for this particular project, so long as the sides pretty much stand up straight. Here I kind of hadn't thought about how I was going to cut out this waist, and I just decided to use the table saw because everything was out. There's a ton of different ways to do this, of course. You could use a jigsaw. I just figured I'd run it through the table saw, stop short because I know the blade on the bottom is going to go farther than the top, and I'll just finish it off with a handsaw. So this is me just finishing off these cuts. And if you'll notice, it's at this point, I've made a critical error. I'm just laying out a stop block on the miter saw so that I can make a bunch of repeated cuts for the treads. Just lay them out. I don't know why I do that weird thing with my hands. Apparently when I'm thinking, I needed 2 more treads to make up the small pieces. I'll rip them down to the right width later. I decided to give everything a 1/8 inch round over just because, you know, it's primarily for my kids, no sharp edges. I'm wearing gloves because I took the end of my thumb off with this router. I dropped it in the process too, and it sure as heck doesn't sound the same. This is me realizing my mistake. And I'm going, wait a minute. What happened here? Back up! Alright. So I made 2 left-hand sides for a step stool. And this is me going, what am I going to do? Who cares, who cares? Putty, paint, move on. So I start laying out the treads. Just gluing them up first. And I'm going to screw them on in just a second. All right, here we are. Mistake number 2. So I start drilling these holes with every intention of using just drywall screws. Because I'm impatient, I don't feel like clamping this thing. I'm going to screw the treads in. And of course, I used a drill bit that is too big. So I ended up using some other screws that were kind of more expensive and unnecessarily longer for a child's step stool. I find it handy having more than one drill, and in fact, I really like brushed drills nowadays. I have a brushless Ryobi drill, and that thing makes such a whining sound. Kind of drives me crazy. I'm not a big fan of impact drivers right now because that concussive noise wakes my kids up, and I pretty much do all my woodworking at night at this point. So it's nifty having more than one drill because that's pretty much all I get to use. Here I'm just ripping down one of the two treads that has to be sized specifically for the remaining space on the steps. And then I'm just going to round the cut edges over so it looks like factory boards or something. I'll have a slightly rounded edge. So I just run it through the 1/8 round over and router real quick. And screw it up. And this is the final really narrow piece that goes on the last tread, on the bottom tread. And I ran that little piece through the router as well. And that one just got glued and clamping overnight. And I ran all the cut edges and the treads through the router one more time. And here I'm just applying a ton of putty to hide my mistake. Which again, it's really not a big deal. The whole thing's going to get painted black to match the decor for the bathroom it's going in. So basically, making sure that none of the screws are sticking out before I start sanding. 120, then 220. That's as high as I usually go, is 220. This DeWalt Random Orbit Sander has been great. It's probably one of the nicer tools I have. Like most of the nice tools I have, it was a gift. And the test I gave all the stuff I built for my kids, will it hold me up? Just applying a coat of black paint, some sort of interior eggshell to match the decor of the bathroom it's going in. I am not a fan of painting, but it's not too bad to watch it go on at 20 times speed.
So yeah, that's pretty much the whole build. I did a couple coats of poly on the treads, one coat over the whole thing, just to keep it nice and protected because I know it's going to get all kinds of dirt and water all over it being in the bathroom. Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward build. In hindsight, I probably would have cut some handles in here. Also, it just would have helped to lighten it up to remove enough of that material. It's pretty heavy, so it stays put, which is kind of what I want, but it'd be nice if they could move it around a little easier. But it's working just great. Thanks a lot. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one. Ah, it's awful. Hey, no, don't eat that. Oh man. Hey, stop that. Gross. Dude. What? Really? Hey buddy. Spit that out, man.